Whatever emotion you repeat, you compound. And most of us are unknowingly compounding fear, pressure, self-doubt, and then wondering why nothing moves. So today I want to show you how compounding actually works and how the same mechanism that traps you can also destabilize you. This is the reset I'm making right now, mentally, physically, creatively. I'm Francisca. This is my mid-crisis life, and today is Monday Mindset.
If you feel stuck, pressured, or like nothing is moving no matter how hard you try, subscribe. This channel is about recognizing what's happening and letting it reorganize from there.
Okay, kind of blind by the sun right now, but whatever. So yesterday in Crisis Confessionals, I was talking about how my healing seems to have become more performative than authentic, and that a lot of that is to do with a fear of success, a fear of failure, the fear of momentum, the need for my life to become about the content rather than anything else. Anyway, so in Monday Mindset today, what I wanted to focus on was some of that. So at the moment, I'm having a little reset in my life, in my mind, in my body. It feels like there's a kind of renaissance period happening where I'm getting to kind of just power down and reset. And I feel like actually my whole house is having a little bit of a reset at the moment, but I'm not going about that right now, right? I think the reason why I've got to this point is because it was unpalpable. It was untenable to feel the way that I feel and to feel the way that I have felt over the past few weeks, kind of watching momentum pick up and just feeling that constant nagging feeling of fear, right? And what I think it is I think that at some point there was like an origin thought, which really is probably just a recycled thought of things that have happened previously. But in terms of this specific moment, there was somewhere an origin thought that was like, this needs to succeed. I need to be successful, right? But then the question, as always, because this is what I personally struggle with, was, yeah, but am I worthy of success? So I need this to succeed, but am I worthy of success? Am I deserved? Should it come to me, right? And then beyond that, that kind of like even more compounded fear of, okay, but if I succeed, I'm going to be letting people down. I'm going to be making people feel uncomfortable. I'm going to be telling other people that I think that I'm better than them. I'm going to be showing my family and particularly my mother, that I am actually worth something. And that's going to make her feel really shitty. So do I really want to succeed? And if I don't succeed, I'll be letting people down. I'll be proving that actually I'm not really worth anything, and everything that everybody ever said to me up until this point is 100% true. And then all of those other thoughts, the whole myriad of thoughts that are related to that origin of fear around it needing to succeed, right? And whether or not I'm worthy of success, right? I think what happens with anything that's like this, right? Anything that cuts close to the bone, anything that's like a mirror of how we truly feel about ourselves, of how other people feel about us, of what we've kind of internalized about the world around us. With anything like that, what happens then is that then whatever feeling that is, whatever thought that is, whatever energy that is, it then compounds. And I feel like there's been this compounding of real negative energy in relation to what it is that I'm just generally trying to creatively put out there, right? And there's been this compounding of fear, there's been compounding of pressure and compounding of anxiety and compounding of like avoidance because of that, and all the compounding of the success and the failure of everything that it could possibly be, right? That's really heavy. That's a lot of layers, a lot of weight to be holding around something that, to all intent and purpose, has no value. It has no value. It just has the value that I place on it, right? But what I want to remember for myself and what I want to remind people is that compounding, that interest that we build up, right? Compounding works in two directions. It can work in that way of fear and pressure and anxiety, which then compounds into avoidance and distraction and pretense that you don't really care and you don't really want to do it and you're not really that bothered and whatever else, yeah? Or it can compound through love, right? Through consistency, through self-trust, which then compounds into stability. It compounds into creativity. It compounds into desire and into faith and optimism and all of those things, right? So I think the lesson here is that I want to remind myself, and I want to remind anybody else that feels like they're kind of under the weight of a pressure that they've placed on themselves, right? Is that the reason why your life doesn't change isn't because you're broken. It's because we're compounding the wrong emotion. We're compounding the thing that keeps on decreasing our energy rather than increasing our energy, right? So that's why I think it's really important to recognize this and then to reset yourself, to reset internally, to reset externally, to interrupt that compounding, to interrupt that constant compounding nature of whatever it is that you're doing. I was trying to think of another word for it, but there isn't, right? And to stop talking about healing, to stop revisiting and reliving that performance energy, for me anyway, right? And to start actually doing the work, which only is going to make me feel stronger. It's going to strengthen me. It's going to give me more self-respect. It's going to give me more validity within myself, that what I'm doing holds some value, that what I'm doing is authentic, that what I'm doing is meaningful, if for nobody else, but for myself, right? And then what that's going to do is it's going to interrupt that flow and change the trajectory. So that's where I'm at right now. And come back on Thursday for Chrysalis Tools, because that's exactly what I want us to get into. How we reset, how we change the trajectory, and how we start compounding a more positive vibe in our lives. All right, cool. That's it.
If this helped you recognize what you've been compounding, stay with me. Subscribe and join me on Thursday for Chrysalis Tools, where we start changing the trajectory.